What's up, guys? Cainebourne here, back for episode 2. Just going to show you a couple of quick improvements we've made in the base to our defenses. If you remember when we last left off, we had just been raided. I kind of discovered that with you at the same time. I was pretty shocked. We've added a couple of security features here. We've got a double door armored airlock with an armored window for a kill shot, so if anybody does manage to get in the front door, we can take them out safely. We've got another high wall here, so we've got two gates out front with a double layer of high external walls with the barbed wire in case they try to crawl over. Both of these entrances are identical, they mirrored one another, so it gives us two ways to move in and out so we can get more personnel in and out the doors. We've got some backup sleeping bags in the back with stash boxes to grab some extra guns and stuff. We feigned a weakness back here. Normally, if you have the soft wood side of a stone floor, it's easier to pickaxe through. This is sort of a ruse because there are probably 8 layers of honeycombing. If you're not familiar with honeycombing, it's when you make these triangular wall joints. So when you're trying to work your way in, you've got to get through the exterior wall, then another exterior wall, then another exterior wall, then another exterior wall. So you end up having 4 walls in a bite-sized section. Well, imagine that going about 4 to 5 layers deep, and that's what we've got going on for defenses in the back. On the side, here, possibly our weakest point, but still dual layers of honeycombing. But none of the loot is on the first floor. We go up pretty high, and we're eventually going to have about 4 or 5 floors. They come in the front, just tons and tons of doors. I mean, you're going to have to use multiple C4 and rockets for each section. As I said, this is mirrored. We've got the kill room. As they start to get in to fight, I'll just get in here real quick. This is currently main storage, but this is just going to be drop off for all miscellaneous stuff, you know, stone, metal, a couple other things like that that are going to be more communal because we now have a little bit of a community. And when we go in, the entire second floor is actually just honeycombing. So a lot of raiders like to attack you on your second floor because what they'll do is they'll use explosives, they'll use a rocket, take out 4 sections of wall when they hit it right in the corner joint. So I'll show you a corner joint in a second. So then they'll boost up into the second floor and they'll skip an entire floor of defenses. Well, if they do that here, they're going to be in a lot of trouble because it's not going to help them in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't look like they got much progress on the third floor. That's unfortunate, but we have put up a bunch of guard towers. We have one here on this rock that I actually enclosed in the second layer of high walls. And we have another outpost across there. So sleeping bags, so if we somehow get forced out of our base, we have a ready-made raid tower and we have some coverage. All of these are friendly bases. Those are Isk's bases over there, which is an ally of ours. Really nice guy. These little boxes that are domed are privilege boxes encased in stone to stop people. They're like anti-raid privilege boxes. A privilege box is basically a cabinet that you click on and authorize you and your members so that you have building rights. Otherwise, when you try to build with a blueprint, it's going to tell you that you are not authorized, something to that effect. I mean, you already have to put building pieces in place where they can go, but even if they could normally build there, they will not be able to as long as we have those in place. So, very cool feature of Rust. One of the things that DayZ is lacking, and besides DayZ, miscreated, H1Z1, any of the games with crafting, we've got a bunch of pumpkins growing in here. We've got some hemp, which is cool. Hemp is going to be able to cause us to have an infinite supply of cloth. This was supposed to be a design that incorporated an inside furnace. The furnace is the lifeblood of your base. You have to be able to constantly burn sulfur, which mixes with charcoal to make gunpowder. Then you also have to be able to make metal to make these metal doors, keypads, metal walls, which cannot be picked through. You have to use explosives to get through those. And you always want to, the walls, this is the backside of a metal wall, this is the backside of a stone wall. Those are the weak portions where they take 200% more damage. So when you're building your base, you always have to make sure that the tough side is on the outside. And in. Alright, as we were heading outside. By the way, the gun I'm using is called a water pipe. It's very inexpensive, very cheap form of defense. If you're going to use them, you're going to want to have 2 so you can cycle through because they take a really long time to reload. So you shoot a guy, he should be dead at that point. Alright, so we'll take a look at the gate outside here. Another privilege box to stop them from building. We've got a furnace. You don't want to have a furnace inside your innermost high wall because they can use that to get inside the roof like they did yesterday. I figured out that's what happened. They tried to build all around the base and jump over the wall. When that didn't work, they blew through it. They jumped up onto the furnace, and you've got to do it in just the right way, and I'll fail miserably if I try to show you right now, but you can get up on the furnace and then you get on the roof, and that's when they busted in. Thankfully, we were still in building process and abnormally had our loot on the lowest floor, which they did not expect. They ran out of explosives. We were able to repair all the damage they had done. But this is really nice that we were able to add a second wall here around this rock that I showed you yesterday, so they are no longer able to use this to dive bomb the base. And we're able to safely, here's one of the Christmas skins, by the way, if you guys haven't seen this, kind of cool for the holiday season. You can buy a skin for the box. We've got skinned ammo boxes and a couple other things. One of our guys likes to spend a lot of money on that kind of stuff. Godspeed. I'm all for supporting the game. I think some of these skins are a bit ridiculously priced. I think that box, that Christmas box, is about $15, so count me out on that one. Here, this is sort of just an impromptu thing, so we could add another quick furnace. We've got an external wooden fence here. They'll drop off. These little boxes outside are just for miscellaneous stuff. They'll no doubt be raided sooner than later. This is a water catcher. Naturally catches water for us. As you can see, it's got 5,400 milliliters. When I logged off last night, it was empty, so this thing is great. Currently, the rain isn't in, or at least isn't displaying. There were some issues I think they have with graphics with that, so they temporarily removed it, but it still does rain quite regularly in the game, and when it does, that thing catches water. And as you see on the bottom corner, I should mention, you've got your health, you've got your thirst, and you've got your hunger. The hunger being the orange, water being the blue, and your health is the green. So you can use various types of medicines and bandages to stop bleeding. And then you will go ahead and drink and eat as needed so that you don't die that way. The rocks I'm picking up are little nodes. Actually, got a pick here. I'm going to go ahead. I need some stone. We've needed stone for quite some time here to do a lot of stuff. So you go ahead and just hit these nodes. You can see it says high quality ore, stones. This is actually a sulfur mine though, so you can get the best sulfur out of it. You can see with the yellow and greenish fading. So go ahead and get that. I'm going to put you to sleep with that, but those are important. I'm going to grab those in a second. I had a nice little bridge going over the river. Looks like somebody destroyed it. That's too bad. Take you around the neighborhood real quick, and then hopefully in the next video we'll have some action. Just so you know, as far as those guys that attacked, they were pretty bad players, I guess I would say, or ill-equipped. It was pretty simple. They did try to come back, but I didn't really see it to be worth filming. It was pretty boring. Just two guys getting pwned by about 6, and I'd like to put some real fights on here. Not sure what's going on here. This must be one of our members building the start of something. This is good though, opportunity to see. When they first start building, you'll have this bamboo-like structure. It can be broken 1 or 2 hits. Then you upgrade to wood. Then after that, stone. Then metal, which is, he's got a random piece of metal there. So you have to upgrade these incrementally with various materials. He's got support beams here because you have stability included. The higher you go, at first it's not a big deal on the first floor. You have 100% stable, 96, so on and so forth. That was 69, 81. It will go down. So if people use explosives, they launch a rocket and you have a 5-story building and you have low stability, the entire thing will come tumbling down like a deck of cards. So I could try to take out a deer here. Or I could miss. This is why it's nice to have 2 water pipes, because then you can grab the second one right away. And you can go ahead, what's kind of neat in this game, if you want to be a hunter or something to that fact, you see how slow that reload was? I don't have the proper tool. A bone knife would be best for skinning this deer, or even a hatchet. With a pick, you'll get some stuff. You get leather, you get cloth, you get animal fat. Animal fat can be mixed with cloth to create low-grade fuel, which is used to power a lot of the machinery in the game, lanterns, stuff like that. The giant mining quarries that can kind of automate the process of mining for you. This is Tommy's house, so he's got a pretty simplistic approach. He's just going up and up and up and up and up, which is a valid tactic, because if somebody comes inside your armored door here, uses a bunch of explosives, starts going through your hatches, they're going to have to boost one another each time. So you can kind of stand near a wall, you look straight down, or you duck, and then you can even jump to assist them. You can create human totem poles. It could be 4 or 5 people lined up, but it's much more difficult to get a clan inside of a base way that's higher up. This is Isk's base. He's a pretty ingenious builder. He does some pretty cool stuff. I don't know exactly what he's got going on so far, but rest assured his bases get insane. He does a lot of cool stuff. This is honeycombing, an example of honeycombing on the outer edges, so he's obviously doing that to create more defenses. But you'll notice there's like these grass terrains in the middle. So if you can kind of creatively leave grass, you can put stash boxes in there which may remain invisible until a player stares at them, and you can put a platform over them to hide loot. You can also plant hemp, pumpkins, all types of food and stuff like that. This is a furnace base that we're working on. Well, actually, no, this is Isk's failed base that he was adding. This over here, I believe, is a furnace base. Why people log off and leave bamboo, I will never know, but guess they just didn't really have the supplies. We're probably up too late, but this is a furnace base. So here's a good example of you place your furnace, you build the base around it, not the way that our builder decided to do it, which was build the base, leave a hole for the furnace, and then oops, we can't add it. So, but kudos to him, he still has a pretty cool base design. A lot of different biomes and terrain in this game, by the way. Here's an example of two. You've got the deserts, and then there's the grass biome. So obviously in grass, you're going to be able to plant crops much more efficiently and stuff like that. You can drink out of natural water sources like this river over here. Here's a pumpkin I can grab and eat, and then after I eat the pumpkin, or wear the pumpkin if I want to, after you eat the pumpkin, it will leave seeds, which then you can then plant and grow more food. You've got water here that is clean and drinkable. If you try to drink salt water, though, in the ocean, you will get dehydrated and eventually kill yourself. Off in the distance, you can see the snow biome, which is pretty cool. Lots of wildlife. There's horses, which they plan to allow you to ride at some point. Currently wolves, which are aggressive and pretty tough. Bears, which are extremely scary and tough to kill, and then some non-aggressive animals like deer and boar, which you simply kill and eat, and a chicken, which is sort of a waste of time because it has almost no materials. There is sort of a funny thing too where the deer for some reason give off chicken meat. It was a bug early on and they just left it in because people really get a kick out of it, think it's silly and funny. This is a boar I just saw, which just bugged out and went inside a rock. So you'll see that kind of stuff. You'll notice in the top corner, Rust Alpha means not even feature complete, so this is going to be working for a while. Our base looks pretty cool over there. That's it from a distance with the double walls around it. So kind of a tough raid, but not an impenetrable fortress by any means. We've still got work to do, and we want to continue to grow the base. So we're in a desert biome, as you can see, lots of wildlife. The cacti you can destroy and obtain. There's liquid inside of them as well as it will feed you. So when you hit it with the proper tool, this is not the proper tool, so you'll notice my character is going to recoil when he hits. So you don't really want to use that tool. You'll get either cloth or cactus flesh, and cactus flesh is it contains water, as it does in real life. So you can eat that, and you'll get liquid as well. Here again is a boar who is a non-hostile animal. If he does detect me, and I know that sucks that they're walking through the rocks right now, that's a bug, but he's a non-hostile animal which you can kill and then hunt, and of course he's also acrobatic. You can do the splits there, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, you get some really hilarious animations when they're dead here. This guy's doing, I think, a plank exercise right now. So you might have noticed too, I'm picking up these little nodes. These are wood, metal ore. You'll see stone as well as sulfur. So those are just kind of simple rock deposits early on. When you're just starting out and you have horrible tools, you're going to want to go ahead and pick up as many of those as possible. So now you've got wood, you've got stone, you've got metal, you've got everything like that. There's also barrels, which I don't see one around here, but I'd like to show you if one pops up. It's all a part of the new component system. Whenever you break open a barrel, you'll get different components, which are extra items that need to be mixed in with recipes. So when you want to craft now, they took out the level system. And everything inside here can be crafted from the beginning of the game, but it all has requirements. So some are simple. If you want to make a barricade, you need 300 stone. But if you want to make an explosive, you need gunpowder metal fragments. Well, gunpowder is a bit of a process. You need to take charcoal, and you also need to take sulfur, which basically you mine sulfur rocks, burn it for a while in a furnace. It turns into powdery sulfur. Mix it with charcoal to make gunpowder. Then you take metal ore, melt that down, get metal fragments, mix those together and make a grenade. I'm not going to go extensively into everything you make, but some things are much more complicated, like when you're making a rocket, because as you can see there's a lot of components to make explosives. Mix explosives with pipes and whatnot, and you get rockets and so on and so forth. So there's all types of clothes, there's all types of armor. Currently the best armor is the heavy metal armor. But you also have the road sign stuff. It's kind of hodgepodge, coffee can, hats, weird stuff. Like right now I'm kind of wearing Stone Age stuff. It's just bone and a wolf skull hollowed out, turned into a helmet. Not the most effective way to armor yourself, but definitely inexpensive and non-resource intensive. And when I'm just kind of roaming around grabbing resources and stuff, a lot of times you get some guy's going to come up behind you when you're picking these things. You can use Alt to look around, but pretty inefficient, so you're probably going to get shot. You might as well just go ahead and wear minimal equipment so that whatever you're getting is all you lose. So these water pipes, again, very inexpensive, cheap stuff. You can even make handmade shells that don't even require gunpowder. You can just put, well, actually I think you need gunpowder, but it doesn't require metal, I'm sorry. So you can just use rocks that you crush up basically and put inside, so it's kind of like a poor man's ammunition. So a lot of cool stuff in this game, tons of stuff. I'm not really meaning this is a complete tutorial for the game, but a lot of people are going to be brand new to the channel and brand new to Rust, so I want to make sure you at least have a vague idea of what the heck I'm doing as I go through here and do this different stuff. But very cool game in the ilk of, you know, Minecraft and 7 Days to Die and H1Z1 and Miscreated and all of that good stuff. But this to me is my favorite because it's the most feature complete. There's just so much to do. You gotta eat, you gotta drink, you gotta gather, you gotta fight. Just so many different things to do, lots of fun. All of these gates, by the way, are backwards. Shouldn't matter. I don't think gates have a weak side the way that walls do. Those are kind of accidents. Sometimes it's hard when you're in the building process and you're putting down these larger structures. It can be rather confusing. This is a large furnace. This is the most efficient way to handle large ore deposits and stuff. You can put so much in here. You throw in some wood and then you just hit the E button and it starts burning away. And then slowly but surely you're going to see this thing start to churn out. You know, here's the actual sulfur that you burn down. This is going to turn into high quality metal, which is used for the higher end items in the game. This is one of the rarest resources. This is metal. So basically I'll put them underneath what comes out. This is stone, doesn't even belong in there. This is high quality metal. So this is the byproduct as you're burning and melting it, smelting it, I should say, smelting. So that's doing its thing. As far as tools go, by the way, too, you start out with literally just a rock. No kidding. I mean, you literally have a boulder that you just pound away at stuff. Then you end up making stone tools. Then you get all the way up to metal here. And then the rarest are salvaged, which you can use from those components I mentioned earlier. I just want to give you a glimpse at components since, oh, by the way, this is the bone knife that you use. This now has been upgraded. It used to be just a kind of a useless weapon. Now it's the best way to skin animals, which is pretty cool. It says best in class at harvesting flesh. Which, by the way, you can also eat people. I wouldn't recommend it, though. They not only do they not taste very good, but it dehydrates you very, very quickly. It's just sort of an emergency tactic. If you've killed your opponent, and they barely made it. If you've killed your opponent, you're starving to death, you can, as a last resort, eat him. So that's kind of weird. So hopefully in the next episode I will finally have some action for you guys. It's been pretty quiet. Show you a couple more things here and then I'll let you go. This is our food supply. So we've got about various bear meat, wolf meat, pork, and chicken. So depending on your religious preference, you can have a wide variety to choose from. We've got a little collection of guns. So far, not much. I mean, we've got a launcher to do some raiding. This will shoot out rockets. We've got some semi-automatic rifles. We've got a bunch of P2s, which are one of the better starter weapons, and these pistols. Hopefully he's got his cool skin. Yeah, see, this is example one of the skins that you can purchase for the guns. I don't recommend walking around with that skin at night. You stick out like a sore thumb. Got a bunch of pistol ammunition. So if I want to switch the pistol, pop in another clip. So we've got, you always want to keep a good supply of weapons. These sleeping bags allow us to respawn every time we're killed inside the base. There's a sturdier, more resource-intensive bed you can put up that is kind of cool. That will let you respawn a lot quicker. There's like a timer every time you die. One really cool feature too, unlike DayZ or Minecraft where you gotta look for your friend for hours and hours, not only can you pick up your sleeping bag if you want to relocate, you can name it so you know where it is, or you can click give to a friend, and literally anybody playing the game or on your friends list like my buddy Josh Kazam, who's AFK or not playing right now, away from the keyboard, I can just click the button and that would now become his sleeping bag instead of mine. So that's cool. We have a repair bench to repair some of the tools. So it takes about half the normal resources to make them, to repair them, but it does lose durability. That's what that orange is there. So like this one's so messed up that it's not even worth repairing it anymore. There is currently a bug where you can repair salvaged items for free. So the ice pick, which is the salvaged version of the mining pick, or there's also, if I find one, I'll show you, there's a salvaged axe. That is what the equivalent of the axe to chop down wood and stuff. So there's always an appropriate tool for the job. You don't want to hit a mine with an axe, and you don't want to hit a tree with a pick. So then there's also some these are just kind of looking through here. This is where we keep our stone. This is where we keep our wood. So those are the most simplistic materials. Gunpowder and sulfur is the most important for raiding, and heavy, high-quality metal is for armor, doors, and metal armor and things like that. So as you can see, we try to keep stuff pretty well organized. This is ore that we melt down. And over here is a bunch of our metal and leather and all that kind of goodies. So, alright, there's a pretty good rundown of the base. That lets you know what's going on. We should have had Donald Trump build our wall, huh? He's not as active, so he's just been kind of sleeping there for almost 2 days. But some of our guys play a lot. Some of them, do what they can. We all have different life schedules. I'm a full-time college student, and generally I work full-time, except currently I am on seasonal active layoff, which allows me a little bit more time to play and time to do cool stuff. Oh, we've got some tech trash, and we've got a bolt-action rifle. This is one of the better guns in the game. We've got a cool skin on it, and it's got a zoom-in scope. So we've got this locked away because this is going to be really cool to fight off raiders and do different stuff. So this is an example of something that's really cool. By the way, aren't these cool? These ladder hatches. This is one of my favorite features of the game. You have these flip-down ladder hatches that allow you to go up and down, and they're armored. They're stronger on the top side, so if somebody gets on the roof, it's harder to get in. They can actually chop that up with an axe from below. But anyways, you can see this is a really nifty weapon to have to shoot somebody from long range, and it's pretty cool that we have a skin. So I'm going to wrap it up there. The next time you see me, we will be in a gunfight, hopefully. I will find some action if I have to, because I want to go ahead and show everybody how that stuff works. This too, by the way, is one of the most rare components. You can find it in rad towns or radiation towns, or when the helicopter. There's two other cool things in the game that happen. There is a plane that flies by and drops off random supply crates. If you're lucky enough to loot it, you get weapons, sometimes military grade, which you can't craft, or you can get laptop cameras or laptop computers, and then digital cameras, or like security cameras that are broken. You can turn those into auto turrets that will shoot people that come into your base. You can program it. The other thing you can do is break it down and make tech trash. Tech trash is used to make C4 and some of the really cool weapon stuff. The attachments, so like laser sights and a hollow sight, because most of the iron sights on these guns kind of suck. You can make muzzle brake to stop the kick. You can put a flashlight, which is handy at night, silencer, so on and so forth. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, I have a really powerhouse computer coming in the mail. The hard drive and case are sitting in my living room. I'm super excited. I'm just waiting on the graphics card, which is a GTX 1070, the processor, which is a i7 6700K, 32 gigs of RAM, and lots of cool stuff. So we're going to be kicking butt. We're going to have this maxed out. We're going to have recordings that are not jittery and stuttery. That's just due to my processor. So thank you guys so much. Go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and we will have some much more action-packed stuff going on in the future, some fights, some raids. I want to get going for you guys, show you a lot of cool features of the game. Thank you so much. Have a good day.